Okay, let me now take you to Israel. Okay, so some of you are probably familiar with this area, but it is very much in the Middle East, right? Um, let's look at some of the areas and see if we can find them. Okay, so we saw Lebanon, right? Lebanon was something that we talked about when we talked about the Middle East. Okay, so just to situate yourself, this is very close to that area. Okay. What do you recognize? Okay. Do you see Jerusalem, which is right here? Right here. Okay. This is Tel Aviv. All right. This is West Bank. This area in green, that's actually Palestine. Okay. Now the debate is out there, this is a map, and the reason I got this map for you is so that you would see the bias, right? So clearly this is a map that is Israeli because it says Israel and occupied territories, right? If you were talking to somebody who was in Palestine, they would say, well, this is Palestine. This isn't occupied territory. Okay, so this is the reason why I have this map here for you to showcase the bias, right? That people think, specific areas belong to them historically. Some people would disagree. Okay. Jerusalem, that you see there, right? That is the capital city of Israel and is also the capital city of Palestine. So you see two Jerusalems, one here. Oops, one here. Okay. So that's interesting. Okay. So you see the Gaza Strip. You may have heard of the Gaza Strip. There's lots of fighting around there. So it's kind of a name that you may be familiar with. So Tel Aviv, which you see there, Tel Aviv is right here. Okay, this is a very popular touristy sort of city. I have some really close Jewish friends, and they talk about how modern it is and how pretty it is, and see it's like right on the water. So it does have a beach culture as well. Um, Israel in general, I mean, the Jewish folks were like all over the world, and they finally, when they found a homeland, everyone came there. So what you're seeing in Israel is just really a flourishing of different cultures. The food is amazing there because, it has influences from all different parts of the world. So you really have global food. Um, Education is extremely important in Israel. Hebrew is their main language, okay, and this is a very beautiful culture. So now that you have a little bit of an understanding of where it is, okay, you can see Lebanon, you can see Syria, you can see Egypt, and hopefully, because we've seen some of the last portions of the last video, you would actually know where all of this stuff is now. Okay, so what I want to do is tell you a little bit more about what the Jewish population looks like in Israel. Okay, so 42% of the population is fairly secular. Okay, 25% is traditional. Okay, 13% is traditional and religious. Okay, and you could say, about what, 12 plus 8, percent of people are a lot more traditional. Okay, so this is a 2010 report that was released by the Israel Central Bureau of Statistics, and you can see like a sort of descending scale of religion, people who are religious. Okay, so what I wanted to do is talk to you about a specific brand that decided to go in there and advertise. Now, a lot of the Orthodox Jewish folks, they don't really shave. So Gillette's thinking, okay, I got to advertise some brand, some of my products. And so they came up with deodorant. Um, Now, what they've done is they've created an ad, but it's a bit silly. There's humor to it. It is not expected to insult. It's just expected to share. And the reason why I want to show you this ad is to tell you the importance of market research again in any kind of global environment, any kind of different cultural environment. You want to do research and you want to do thorough research. And then you want to not only create ads that connect with the audience or do PR along with advertising, but you also need to find the right media to execute that advertising in. Okay, so in that sense, I mean, so again, this is a silly, humorous setup, but the idea is to educate how things are done, how much research needs to be done, and how do you connect with people and meet them where they are. Okay, so have a look.
Last year, we used the word of God to sell protection to 3 million Orthodox Jews. The kind of protection you need in 40-degree heat whilst dressed like this. Especially when the Sabbath rolls around. Orthodox Jews aren't allowed to do any work during the 24-hour Sabbath period. Drive, shower, even apply deodorant, which is a big problem. When they pack into synagogues for the holiday, it gets uncomfortable, sweaty, and the smell distracts them from doing what they went there to do. Pray! As God says,
"Thou shalt not pray in a place of foul odor."
Thankfully, Gillette offers 48-hour protection, which would reduce the odor in synagogues, helping God hear their prayers. But Orthodox Jews hadn't heard of Gillette. After all, they don't even shave. So, for 6 weeks, we took over every media channel used during Sabbath preparations. First, we recruited Judaism's religious authority to endorse our commandment and spread the word on the #1 media channel for the community, synagogue notice boards. Then a side-by-side battle of the synagogues pitted our 48-hour formula against the brands usually bought by our audience. We proved Gillette's formula made our prayer 4 times more effective through a state-of-the-art Japanese odometer. And as the holiday approached, we sponsored the candle lighting schedules indicating the start time of the Sabbath. We took over the last radio commercial slot before Sabbath began, and we hijacked the street sirens that marked the start of the holy 24-hour period. The community heard our prayer. In just 2 months, we grew Gillette's share in the Orthodox community from 3% to 15%. Mazel tov.
Okay, so I know it's a little silly, but if you want your product or your service to be successful internationally, you have to implement um, a culturally sensitive strategy. Okay, um, in each market, you may have to do it differently, but you have to figure out a way to keep your brand sort of unique and competitive. Okay, so lots of research is required, culturally sensitive strategies required. Really, good advertising, culturally sensitive advertising is required, and then the good execution of that advertising is actually as important. Okay, so before we wrap up on this section, um, some little tidbits, right? Cultural sensitivity extremely important at home as well as abroad. Okay, because we live in a salad bowl here in the US. So lots of different cultures, you know, um, they blend, they come together, but when, but they don't really talk about culture when they do that. When they go back to their homes, it's all about that culture. Okay. So you have to learn to be inclusive. You have to learn to be gender neutral. Okay. And you have to figure out ways to engage all audiences. So I'm going to leave you with one one more ad, okay? And this is, a campaign by ASOS. It's titled More Reasons to Move. And it really just features women taking the lead in sports. Sports that are usually associated with men, including football and boxing. So enjoy.
For the rush,
Your wide.
for the hang time, the haters.
Yeah, cause I'm the man.
Really? Because they said I couldn't. I'm here for her.
For me, I'm just there for the likes.
Why?
Because I look this good.
Everyone has a reason. Find yours.